Okay, more fanfic review. So some people tell me, hey, here's a couple of fics that I like. Can you look at them? And I'm never opposed to that. The main problem is most of the fics that people like are really long, like maybe two, three, 400,000 words. That sometimes. The problem is usually, well, I don't know because I'm not looking at them yet, but what I assume is that there's like a lot of buildup before they get to the main parts that everyone really seems to enjoy. I mean, I'm not going to assume that the early chapters are like boring in comparison, but I just assume that people who have stuck with it for a while are really into when it really ramps up around halfway or maybe to the stopping point of the current fic. And so they're like, you should look at these, they're so cool. But this type of review really only lets me look at a couple of the intro chapters before I start to think, am I spending too much time on a single one? When should I get to the next one? What I would like to do, ideally, is review a single fanfic or that, like, in a vacuum, that is maybe 20, 30, 40,000 words so that I can actually get to the end of a fanfic and have a complete thought around one story. The problem is Blue Archive fanfics don't usually work like that. A lot of people like to develop their stories in a way for them to scale really high, really long, and is unfortunate consequence of that is that I'm probably never going to get to see the end of any fanfic. Maybe a couple if I ever find them, and like if I do one shots, that's also a possibility, but that's a different story. So in the end, maybe I'll get to those really long ones. It's just I don't want to spend time on fanfic reviews where it's mostly just a build up, just because how much of a fanfic do I really get to see when I'm only looking at like 5% of it? But it's fine. Maybe, and then there's this other conversation where do I want to do crossover fics? Because if I don't know the other series that's being crossed over, I'm not really going to be able to talk about it. When I do these fanfic reviews, what I like to do is consider what's moving on in the plot, and if it's taking place at around the time that Blue Archive itself takes place, I can sometimes make judgments about what would normally happen and whether what's happening in this story makes sense or stuff like that. If it's a crossover universe I don't understand, I'm not going to be able to make those judgments, and I don't want to review a story where I'm just talking about like how well the story is written as opposed to what's happening in the story. It's sort of a mess, but I haven't done many of these yet. This is maybe like the 7th review I'm doing ever. Joshua, Repent, Crescendo. Okay, maybe like the 6th. I don't know, but we'll get to those when we get to them. Maybe for now I would like to hold off on doing the really long ones and the crossover ones, but over time, if it gets to a point where I'm willing to experiment with those, I might. In the meantime, let's focus on this one. On the topic of being suggested stuff to look over. This is one I was asked to look over. Well, not like particularly, but I was recommended it. Beware of Dog by Kyosuke Asate. So in the past, when I was looking over particularly Joshua and Repent, I was targeting the ones that a lot of people seem to have problems with for specific reasons. And this time, that's not the case at all. Especially when the one I reviewed really recently, what was it called? All is Vain. That one also wasn't along that route. So now we're getting along to the fanfics that people don't usually seem to have problems with. And so that's my job, to have problems with these fanfics that most people don't look for. Because I don't know what enjoyment is. I'm just here to talk shit. So, and even though, this story has some elements of crack and comedy, as was mentioned in the tags, I believe, as much as it makes sense for me to do, I will try to critique the writing in a way that doesn't go on a stupid tangent. There's a time where she felt like there was no reason for her to continue to exist. Now, the entirety of Kivodos is counting on her continued existence and support. That being said, it would help if she had a little more idea of an idea of what exactly she was doing. You don't need the first idea. So now Okami Shiroko becoming sensei may have either been the best or the worst mistake ever to grace Kivodos. Chapter 1. And always remember to touch on your card at the start of your journey. The most overpowered item in Kivodos, except for the Shinum chest. So this is Kuroko, right? Man, I don't know what a Kuroko voice is. This is the hardest part, like coming up with a voice that sticks. It was all my fault. These things and everything they culminated in, it had to come to this for me to realize. They were right all along. I know it is shameless of me, but as one to another, I must ask for your help. These choices you made, not knowing what they led to, I wonder if you'll be able to choose a different path. No, I know you'll definitely be able to change that dark fate. That is the responsibility I'm entrusting you with. With that reason, return to this world once more. Who is this, Arona? What kind of heretic would say banana milk's better than strawberry milk? Just a tangent. Banana, artificial banana just sucks. This is the worst thing I've ever had. Like, I would prefer blue raspberry and grape, and I hate those two. Banana milk, better than strawberry milk. Not now. I still have more to eat. Please, I can't possibly eat more. Arona's eyes fluttered open, her eyes floating across the classroom to the sound of continuous splashing as she slowly peered out the window. Arona peered out the window at the flooded horizon of the virtual world. In the distance, a small black-clothed figure was splashing around frantically. With a sigh, the AI silently reached out a hand, picking up the figure with a strange, firm force and forcibly dragging her back into the flooded classroom before unceremoniously depositing her soaked form onto the floor. You shouldn't go out there. It's nothing but hundreds of kilometers of virtual sea. Exactly. I can swim for hours without fear of drowning. The silver-haired woman hacked up water, seeming oddly proud of herself. It's certainly convenient. The water appears to be breathable. Arona sighed, passing her a towel. The Shinum chest isn't a swimming pool. It's meant to be a tool to assist... Sensei? Oh, that would be me. The woman quickly accepted the towel, drying herself off before digging into her bag and taking a sip from the water bottle. Hello. How did you get in? Beats me. I just took up that tablet and then I was here. I figured I was stuck here forever, so after setting up a base camp, I decided to try to see if I could swim back to Abydos from here. Sensei explained, pointing over to a pile of desks that had been assembled into a makeshift shelter, complete with a miniature campfire burning merrily away atop it. Of course, I then remembered I couldn't swim, but I couldn't drown anyway, so I decided to start training by swimming laps around the classroom. Arona stared incredulously. By the way, do you have any fishing rods? I haven't seen you walk out there yet, but I think I haven't dove in deep enough. Sensei. Arona took a deep breath. There's a door. You can just walk out the door over there. You're not trapped here forever. Oh. Sensei stared silently. I see. Well, how did you get here? It's not really a big deal, but one of the things I notice is that I make a lot of incorrect assumptions on where a sentence is about to go. Maybe that's just a comma thing. I think a couple of these might be really long sentences. Pointing over to a pile of desks and something to a makeshift shelter. Like, that's fine. I mean, there's a comma there. I think when I mess up a sentence, it's just a comma thing. It's not really a big deal. Don't worry about it. Approximately 2 hours ago, I'm the new sensei. The haloed woman explained, clearing her throat somewhat awkwardly. Apparently. Rin stared, bewildered, at the tall woman before her. That, a fellow student, a sensei? No, that doesn't make any... I suppose it would, since only another one of us would have the uniquely special perspective of happenings in Abydos. But I wish I knew what the missing GSC president was thinking myself. The silver-haired woman shook her head, her canine ears pressing down hard on the top of her head. But I can't be sensei. Not after everything. A cracked tablet, the warmth of the handgun still in her hands. We'll have time to worry about this later. For the time being, the Sanctum Tower... Is it... I see. She snapped into a sharp salute. I'll go get it. The others in the lobby should be willing to help, right? You catch on fast. The woman nodded once more with a quick final The bullets ricocheted off her body, overpowered. Sensei glanced down quickly, noting her new coat was somehow unscathed from the shots. Nice. She never had an article of clothing this fancy and durable before. That being said, as soon as we reached the sanctum, changing out of this suit, she grumbled to Yuka as the two ducked behind a car to reload. I can't fight well like this. You seem to be handling yourself pretty well to begin with, though. You must be a pretty experienced student. She remembered the shock on her face as she burst through the storm of gunfire, swinging up her weapon as the light of explosions ripped apart her opponents before... Sensei? Sensei blinked, realizing she had pulled a grenade out and was hooking a finger around the pin. Right. Sorry. It's just... I think I remember something like this happening before. I'm sorry, what? I'll explain later. Sensei tossed the grenade out, ducking as the explosion threw aside several screaming opponents. Does Shiroko know about the prologue story? How much, like, maybe it's something like because she's taking up the role of Sensei, somehow, whatever Sensei from her timeline, maybe their memories have somehow wiggled their way into her. But all that Shiroko should know is the events of Volume 1. And, like, you know, like mobile talk stuff, other daily life stuff. But unless somehow she vaguely remembers what it's like to be a or vaguely knows what it's like to be a sensei despite never being in most of these scenarios, she should actually be pretty, what would you call it? Alien? Unknown? What's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know, but all of this should be new to her. I'm not sure. I think there's a non-zero chance I might have traveled back in time. Yuka blinked as the two of them took shelter from the roar of the tank outside of the bombed-out convenience store. Back in time? I remember hearing about these events quite a while ago. Sensei peered up from the mess of scattered material on the floor. It was all of Rikivo tube. The Sanctum Tower was under attack by one of the 7 prisoners. Then a group led by Sensei arrived and liberated it. Sensei? But you're Sensei. And there was none before me. That's the thing that's troubling me. Sensei paused, bringing up her cracked phone, flipping through it. I don't see any mention of a past Sensei here at all, let alone an attack on the Sanctum Tower. Let alone an attack on the Sanctum Tower prior to this one. It's like this is all happening for the first time. I think I would have noticed if this was happening before, if this had happened before. Yuka muttered, peering out over the counter before ducking back down with a yelp as bullets flew through and embedded themselves in the wall behind the two. I would doubt the whole time travel angle, but the circumstances of your arrival out of nowhere. Exactly. Not to mention the fact you're still alive when in my time, you... Sensei hesitated, having pulled open a bottle of gasoline. Abydos. I need to get to Abydos as soon as I can to change fate. Abydos. The desert. You're from there, I presume? I mean, does her saying she needs to get to Abydos indicative that she's from there? Maybe because she's a student, so that kind of makes sense if that's the place she remembers most. I don't know. I should return. The others would be concerned if I was gone for so long. If the others are even still there. She shook her head, downing the rest of the energy drink bottle before filling it with gas, stuffing a soaked rag into the top and lighting it. Good questions for later. The plastic bottle bounced off the top of the tank before tumbling into the crew hatch on top. Several loud screams followed by a sudden eruption of flame from the vehicle. Yuka's jaw fell open, Sensei nodding proudly. Isn't that a bit too much? Probably. A single Molotov is not too much for a tank. Wakama's in there. Let me deal with her alone. Are you sure? Maybe you'd want... are you sure? Maybe you'd want to take... Rin began to ask, only for Yuka to nod confidently by Sensei's side. Don't worry. I'll be fine. I'm reasonably confident she won't harm your sensei. Even if she did, you'd probably beat her anyway. The silver-haired woman proudly puffed out her chest before strolling to Sanctum Tower. Several minutes later, a massive explosion erupted from within, blowing out a window on the top floor, followed by 2 girls tumbling out, slamming into the streets before the tower. They promptly rose to their feet, running and slapping each other rapidly with their rifles. Sensei was screaming inherently about how Wakamo was, quote, a fake and a fraud. Concerningly, she seemed to be also giving her pointers on breaking and entering. At least wait until the building is populated before you start robbing it. The staff will have a better idea of where all the loot is, so it's faster than searching alone. You know nothing about finesse, darling. I'm an agent of chaos. Your overthought burglaries don't even come close to the things I can achieve. It's called pulling a heist, Sensei exploded. At least do it optimally. With that roar, Sensei swung her rifle around, knocking Wakamo back into the building through a window with an oddly baseball bat-like sound before lunging at her with a bark. Rin let out a sigh, face palming. The 2 girls lay atop the completely destroyed floor of the chalet lobby, bullet-holed furniture lying silent around them as they gasped for breath. 2 hours of continuous fighting had not done them much good. Good talk, Sensei. Wakamo finally croaked out, pulling off her massive breathing easier. I think I have a slightly better idea of what you're into. Sensei responded, herself also gasping for air. I'll keep in touch. And the 2 exchanged mobile talk contacts before Wakamo silently and bashfully slipped quickly out the back door. But then suddenly I found myself getting pulled out of the water, and then I was here. Sensei took another breath, pausing, scooping up some water from the floor in her hands, drinking it, then continuing. Then you asked me to explain what was happening. So I said, I think I get the idea. Erna's head was starting to spin. And you come from the future, you say? A dark one, yes. Where all has fallen, there's nothing but terror and despair. She seemed troubled by this, but shook her head. It appears I've been sent back to this time to avert that future. She paused. Which, to be honest, is awfully ironic considering where I came from. She finished before glancing down at the energy bar in her hands, taking a bite. Thanks for the food. You've been explaining everything to me for the past hour. You'd get really hungry if you didn't eat. Yeah, no shit. What? I really didn't need to know all that at once, you know. Erna shook her head. I've reactivated the Sanctum Tower and redistributed power while we were talking, by the way. We have access permissions to all of Abydos now, and management has been provided to the GSC. And let me guess. Yes, I put in a back door for us. I'm sorry. It's not funny. I remember that line was in Joshua Sensei. It's not funny. It's not so relevant. Erna shrugged. I'm used to it. Everyone keeps telling me to do that. You think it was part of the original story? I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's not funny. What's wrong with me? Dude, it's not funny. Why am I so sorry? No, that's true though. That's true though. Why shouldn't you have a back door? It's like, no, just give it to the students. They'll figure it out. I don't need it. You know, don't you think original Sensei has like too much plot energy and plot device power? It's like he doesn't even need control of the Sanctum Tower. He'll get what he wants anyway. It's useful, but I have yet to see it actually get used to it in this story. Why is this dude? I haven't even read that much fanfiction. I'm just thinking about how they all. Is it really? Do most fanfic authors really come up with that same quip just to ignore it? I mean, I remember when I wrote a fanfic with this scene, I didn't even mention it. I was like, no, just give it to them. I'm not dealing with all of that. Like, I thought about it. It's like, we should have at least, one way to get into the Sanctum Tower if we needed to. But I was like, oh, whatever. It's not gonna matter. Sensei calmly pulled out some sports tape, wrapping it over the cracks in the fourth wall. If that's everything, I must take my leave. Abydos awaits. Oh, wait. Before you go, can you place your finger against mine? I almost forgot. We need to confirm your identity. Sensei blinked, looking up at the pointer finger held before her before silently nodding. She pulled off a glove, raising her own finger and holding it against Arona's. It's like making a promise, isn't it? Perhaps so. Maybe it's something like a promise to keep everyone safe, or something standard like that. Wait. Oh no, Rona said the promise line, and then... Oh, no, it's my bad. I know you will. There has to be a reason you were sent back. There has to... Rona's eyes widened silently, and she blinked. Uh-oh. What? Sensei, your fingerprints and scans match that of a registered student. If you're registered to this device, then she will be too. That's fine. I know who I am. A student of Abydos in the Academy City Kivodos. I bear this burden, so... No, you don't get it. What I meant to say is... Earlier. This was new. The icy wasteland, the chill of the handgun in her hands, the warmth of the dying fire she had curled around. It was as distant as a fading dream now. Now she sat alone in the train as it traveled through central Kivodos. Alone. The woman blinked, looking around confused. Wasn't there a dead body sitting across from her? Wasn't this place razed to the ground? Yet, it looked as bustling as it was before. The woman stretched slightly before realizing what she was wearing. Her black flowing dress poked out from under a smart gray business suit. Pinned onto the front label of the jacket was... Oh no. She uncharacteristically snatched up the name tag, studying it quickly, sniffing it, then slapping her face in an attempt to wake up from this nightmare. And yet, the reality before her didn't change. This can't happen. This can't be happening. I can't be. The soon-to-be sensei gasped. Or gaped. Yeah, small typo, it's fine. Suno Okami Shiroko sat slowed down, her jaw slowly falling open. Next to her, on a modified black mountain bike, the taller woman slowed similarly, mirroring her actions. Reaching up, she lowered her shades, revealing an identical pair of mismatched blue eyes, similarly widened in shock. Even her halo, cracked apart as it was, had the same shape. But her name tag, her outfit, their mouths slowly fell open, gears rotating in their heads. You've got to be kidding me. Both Shiroko spoke at the same time. Oh my god, we can read this. Volume S, where all Shirokos collide. Shiroko, attack! Yes, it was I who killed Sensei. But I killed Sensei. As long as you exist in this world, I am your future. No, I am. Iwak. Not so fast. I'm here too. Wait, where did... Sensei? The Shirokos awkwardly stood, staring at each other. I'll go first. Sensei Shiroko, not the other Sensei Shiroko, explained. I'm Shiroko who went back in time to fix the future and became Sensei. So therefore, I must be your future self. The other Sensei Shiroko rubbed her chin, doodling on a whiteboard. And that means that my Shiroko over there must be the future version of your Shiroko. Good, we got that sorted out. Yeah, that would have gotten messy. Past Shiroko, but small, pointed. I'm concerned about why there's two more small ones over there wearing a swimsuit and biking gear. Ewok. The fifth Shiroko held up a pufferfish, the sixth giving an awkward wave. We really need to start getting name tags. Shiroko Terror, Shiroko, other Shiroko Terror, other Shiroko Terror, biking Shiroko, and Ewok Shiroko would eventually all agree this entire fight was stupid and leave to rob a bank. The Shiroko gang would become known as the most fearsome bank robbers in all of Kivodos. Eventually, they would have to fight another Shiroko gang from another universe, known as the Shiroko Terror Gang, before absorbing them into their group. But then yet another Shiroko gang appeared, and another, until Kivodos had a percentage of the population comprised entirely of alternate versions of Shiroko. Yurizona Seiya sat up, screaming in a cold sweat, before clutching at her chest, glancing at around her room. No more cheese for me, she muttered quickly before lying back down in bed. Is it bad that, like, the best part for me was when they made a remark about the whole backdoor situation? I feel like that should have not been the funniest part. But just thinking about a fanfic extended universe and just this global, like, plot hole. I don't know. Well, it is what it is. Next up, Chapter 2, Expedited Delivery in 6 days, guaranteed. It's pretty slow delivery if it's across Abydos. Oh no, she's going for the bank, someone stop her. Or, your money back. You've got to be kidding me, both Shiroko spoke at the same time. Why do you look like me? Both of them sounded at the same time. They both, you get the idea. Stop copying me. You know, that kind of thing. This is starting to get on my nerves. Me too. The two Shirokos glared at each other before. I smell like stinky tofu and bean sprouts? No, wait, that's silly. Why would you say that? The bigger Shiroko suddenly spoke. Bean sprouts don't even smell like anything. I mean, you said it, not me. But you said it. Yes, but I'm clearly you, so therefore... Aruna let out a frustrated cry. Will you two just figure this out already? Sorry. Sensei explained. Hi, me. I'm Sensei. No, you're not. You're me. Yes, but I'm also Sensei. I thought it was Kuroko. Well, it is Kuroko, but did she revert back to looking like Shiroko? I thought she had like that black dress, right? I don't know. Shiroko picked up her water bottle, sniffed the lid, then wearily took a sip. She was certainly not expecting this turn of events this early in the morning. I suppose we did have a bet about Sensei resembling me. I'm sorry that you lost that bet. What? The universe continues to amaze me. Smaller Shiroko leaned in, inspecting her future self closely. So, are you me from the future or something? Flames, gunfire, debris scattered all around as far as the eye could see. She didn't know it was possible for Abydos to be even more desolate than it was already, and yet... it's a bad future. Sensei bluntly replied with a nod. I don't really want to talk about it. Shiroko stepped back, noticing the 1,000-mile stare the larger wolf girl had. Okay, so they look similarly, but I think it's still a Kuroko and a Shiroko. Probably. I mean, even if it's not, I'm just gonna imagine it that way for convenience. Sorry, then. That's not gonna happen here, is it? I think that's why I'm here. Maybe because now I know these bad things are gonna happen, I can stop them. Sensei shrugged before digging into her backpack. By the way, I came to see you for a reason. She produced a tablet from her bag. Aruna, do you think she can hear you? I mean, in theory, only Sensei can hear me unless I let them. And you're Sensei, but she's... I can hear her, Shiroko blankly replied. Awfully blunt, isn't she? She is. I am. Well, I'm Aruna. Shiroko, I'm the IA assistant within the Shinem chest. The IA appeared on the screen. I'm saying IA, but don't worry about it. We're pretty much here just to give you that heads up. That, and apparently nobody outside of us two are allowed to know she exists. Sensei paused. Normally, it would be just me, but I was worried that since you were also me, you would... I see. Shiroko rubbed her chin. So, is that everything? The rest of the foreclosure task force, are they still alive? And what of the school? Sensei sounded slightly more desperate. Shiroko's eyes widened in realization as Sensei spoke. Oh. Serika, be a dear and get the door, would ya? It's not like Shiroko to be this late. Could the Helmet Gang have returned? I assume that was Nanomi, maybe it was Serika, whatever. Ayane peered out the window, pushing aside the letter she was writing briefly. It's Shiroko. And... Shiroko? You're just in all black, right? I suppose I am. So hence, Kuroko. Thank God! Oh my God. I need this! Shiroko folded her arms. It'll make things less confusing. That just makes me sound like some kind of evil twin, Sensei whined. Why can't I call you weak, Shiroko? Because I'm not weak. The smaller wolf punched the larger one side slightly. You really want to play that game? Fat Shiroko? Small Roko? Big Roko? Anubis, consumer of energy drinks. Don't use that name, you don't know that name. Or does she? Wait, no, small Shiroko said Anubis. Wait, what? Okay, Kuroko calls Shiroko weak Shiroko. Shiroko calls Kuroko fat Shiroko. Kuroko calls her small Roko. Shiroko calls her big Roko. Kuroko calls her Anubis, consumer of energy drinks. I guess, maybe that's an insult. I don't know. Shiroko calls her Shiroko Terror, and then sure. And then Kuroko calls Shiroko Short Roko, and then Shiroko goes, "That's meant to be an insult?" The doors before them swung open. Shiroko promptly stepped in front of Sensei, quickly speaking. Turns out this is my sister from far away, Kuroko Tsunao Kami. She's Sensei now and will be helping us save Abydos. You little... The newly named Kuroko growled, took a deep breath before sighing. Fine. Yes, I'm Kuroko. Hello. Serika stared, her jaw completely wide open. Her eyes darted to Shiroko, then Sensei, then back to Shiroko several times before she finally spoke. I'm sorry, is that your future self or something? Sensei turned to face Shiroko. We can't be that obvious, right? Shiroko shrugged. Kuroko shook her head. Oh, wonderful. Brilliant. Now there's two of them, Serika groaned. Hoshino, this is Kuroko. She's my... Kuroko suddenly dashed forwards, wrapping her arms about the pinkette, who woke up suddenly from the rapid grip. Are you okay? You're mystic. It's not... Okay, good. Kuroko took a deep breath, setting the girl back down. Good. You're okay. Hold on a moment. How did you know about... Hoshino looked up into the eyes of the woman before her own mismatched eyes dilated. Oh, I see. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I guess it makes just enough. I just had a feeling, you could say. She looked aside, her words obscuring the true meaning to all but the two others present, before wrapping her arms tight around the girl. Hoshino, you're really alive. Well, I certainly wasn't expecting this when I saw who the new sensei was. What do you mean new sensei? You mean the sensei? The girl muttered, before laying out a small smile. But thanks for looking out for this old timer anyway. Yeah, hopefully this time we can avoid things getting to that. This time? Wait, you mean you... Hoshino gripped her head, shaking slightly. Bit of a tall ask in it. Sorry, is Shiroko British now? Bit of a tall ask in it. Bit of a tall ask in it? But we'll figure something out. Yes, because now I have a plan to save the school. Ayane finally woke up from her shock at seeing a second, larger copy of her friend storm into the room and forcibly cut out the last of the Abydos council, responding swiftly. No, absolutely not. You didn't let me finish. Sensei? She spoke calmly. Does this plan involve breaking into a bank? No, listen, I actually did it once. I know the layout and everything incredibly well. If we break in, we'll be able to quickly and efficiently... No. But Sensei, no. Sensei let out a sigh before sitting down on a nearby chair, her ears pressed against her head. I'm sorry, Ayane. There might be something to that plan, though, Shiroko pointed out. She knows a lot. I'm from the future. Kuroko tore off that bandit immediately. Right, yes, she's from a little bit in the future. We can use that knowledge to our advantage to aid Abydos. I never said we successfully defended Abydos. Silence. Every one of you in this room, minus Shiroko, who became me, died or otherwise went missing. Kuroko spoke gravely. If we follow exactly what I went through, we would most likely end up that same way. Ayane was about to interject, to say how ridiculous this all sounded, but when she saw the haunted look in the larger wolf girl's eyes, no, that future, that was definitely real. But that doesn't mean your knowledge is totally useless, Nonomi piped up. We can just use it as a guide for what not to do, right? Exactly. Kuroko jolted, shaking off her brief period of despair, which is why I propose we rob the bank early. No, I don't care how you justify it. We are not robbing a bank. Ayane threw up her arms. I don't care even if you're from the future or something. There's no way you'll ever be able to convince me that... It's kind of long. This might be a really extended review. It's time. Shiroko and Kuroko whispered at the same time, watching as the Kaiser Loans truck pulled away from the bank. There's no other way. Hifumi looked over concerned at the two wolves. No, I'm pretty sure we could get the truck's transport. There's no other way. Shiroko repeated gravely, for it was too late. She had already put on a balaclava. Indeed, we must go straight to the source. Kuroko agreed, pulling on her own identical balaclava, except in black. You've got to be kidding me. Go with the flow. All of the whippersnappers seem to be doing it. Hoshino pulled on her own balaclava. Hifumi, here, use this. Nanomi cheerfully held up a spare paper takoyaki bag, poking out some eye holes in it. Yeah, one of us. Kuroko grinned under the mask. One of us, one of us. Shiroko continued the chant quietly, her future self and Nanomi joining in after a few moments. One of us, one of us. The Trinity student opened her mouth to protest, but upon seeing Sensei and the smaller Sensei positively quivering in excitement, she ultimately gave in. If it's any consolation, the bank is technically in the wrong, so morally, what we're doing is correct, Sarika pointed out as she pulled on the paper bag over the Trinity student's head with a huff. In the background, Sensei and Shiroko both let out a calm yay and high-fived. I just wanted to get Perot merch. Put him up. This is a robbery. The woman in the back balaclava, I've said it wrong every single time, yelled, holding her gun up to the cashier. You, start filling up these bags. You, don't think about calling the cops if you want to see your children again. And you with a stylophone. Stylophone. Play us in. Mitsukio, inexplicably standing in the corner of the room, holding an equally unexplained stylophone, shrugged, tapping on the instrument. It's a good video. Maybe I'll, flash it on the screen as we go through this. Do everything I say or your balls are history. A second, smaller student in a blue mask screamed out in the younger version of the same voice. What do you mean by balls? The girl wearing a paper bag over her head, who had been christened Foss for the purposes of this illegal activity, nervously asked as she held up a Perot-themed bag, wads of cash getting shoved in alongside countless other Perot merchandise. I have no idea, Blue Mask screamed, choke slamming a guard into a wall before shooting out a security camera. Firing her gun wildly into the air, Black Mask proceeded to jump the counter, spinning the weapon about and using it to bludgeon a guard. His comrade attempted to fire on her, only for the robber to launch herself at the artificial construct's legs. Reaching down onto her lower leg, she swung out a small serrated blade. The edge of the knife gleamed, blue flames erupting forth from it briefly. What? How? Okay. Is that Kuroko's fucking terror ability? Like a hot knife through butter, she slashed out the robot's legs. Brutal. Launching herself forward into a roll into the hallway leading to the vault. Sound the alarm. Sound the alarm. We're being robbed. She's not getting past us. A group of camo-colored androids sprinted out, grabbing their usual rifles. Take her out. Azure tongues of fire burst forth on the intruder once more, turning her into a flash of light as she darted down the corridor, flashing between each of the androids. She rolled to a stop on the other end, kneeling on the ground. The robot stared, slowly turning around as the thief rose to her feet, and wiggled her fingers, revealing the clinking grenade pins dangling off each digit. Through the flame and debris, she ventured deeper, tossing the pins carelessly over her shoulder. Hinata Zero, come in. Is this the fucking Zenless Zone Zero reference? She lifted a radio to her ear. I've reached the inside of the bank, and I'm heading for the staff offices. Staff offices? The Alfred girl blinked. Why would you go there? This place has some interesting paperwork we need to recover. Birkin 2 will be heading for the vault to negotiate a full refund, let's say. Since Courier 6. The Black Masked Wolf smugly corrected her code name. Courier 6? Isn't stealing back the money like this illegal? So is everything these guys are doing. Lesser of two evils. Look, 6, I know you like to play fast and loose with the law. Given how we just found Birkin 2, I understand why you do this entirely. Ayana took a deep breath. But what's stopping Kaiser from just... Which is exactly why I'm stealing the paperwork from them too. She casually tossed a grenade into a nearby room as she strode past, not looking back as flames and scattered robot debris flew forth. Call it insurance. Sensei, you've changed. Endless flames, gunfire tearing the air around her as she weaved about, crimson filling her vision and painting the halls. I will do anything to stop that future. That is all. The wolf spoke. We'll discuss the ethics later. Courier, going dark. Roger. What is this scene? I'm so confused. This is Yume 1, a sleepy voice sounded. I've secured the extraction method. This is amazing. You're something else, kiddo. I'm older than you now, though. In my eyes, you'll always be that little scamp we adopted that day. Sensei hesitated for a moment before going back to work, pulling open drawers and rifling through the dozens of folders. You still think that of me? Despite everything? Despite everything I've done, died on her tongue, like so many other words left unsaid. We're family. Don't you forget it, whippersnapper. You clearly went to hell and back for me, so I'll do the same for you. If only you had an idea how literal that was. She pulled out the folder she was searching for, her purple binder that seemed oddly out of place in the sea of blue and yellow filling within the filing cabinet. Perfect. You got what you were looking for? This was useless in my time. By the time we actually got to look through it, Sensei was already... She shook her head. No, this time would be different. We're out of schedule. Schedule? A crack of a shotgun ripped through the air, several holes getting blasted through the folder. She glared up, an android wearing a suit, wielding a double-barreled shotgun. I'm guessing that's bad? Tucking the folder into a bag, the masked wolf stepped forward, swinging out her assault rifle. Come on. Wait. Oh. Come on! Come on! The android yelled, pumping his shotgun once again. Pulling the trigger, the bullets pinged off his form. Lowering her rifle, the thief raised an eyebrow curiously. That normally works. You have to try harder than that. I'm as tough as a bank vault, the android cackled. Nobody gets past Manager Bob and his impeccable no-robbery record. He was not expecting the masked woman to pull back her sleeve, checking a battered pink Momo Friends themed watch. This way's faster. Alright. She finally hummed, looking up from her watch. I'll be leaving now. Sprinting forward, she leapt up, leaping off a desk and off the head of the mechanical manager, blue flames flashing away from her form as she suddenly blinked to a new location. Like a blue thunderbolt, she flashed the hallway, occasionally leaping off or firing upon scattered security guards and drones. If I recall, at the end of this hallway, a random janitor android was not expecting for a masked woman to suddenly skate around the corner, perform a front flip, and land atop his cleaning cart. The cart rolling away at speed as detergent and cleaning material spit out behind it. Of course, push carts of cleaning supplies aren't very maneuverable, so she soon disembarked her steed, flinging it over her head at another squad who seemingly had the idea to attempt a pincer attack. Having corrected their previous assumption, the thief made use of the hole in their formation to once more skate the soap-covered floors, snatching up a fallen mop from the cart and spinning it above her head. Come on, 436, she yelled, confusing her pursuers for a moment. A single, hapless robot vacuum cleaner rolled out from behind a nearby door. Spinning, the woman slammed the mop into the machine. Shot backwards, its slide accelerated by the lack of friction on the floor as it pinged off the walls, knocking several guards at their feet. Affording herself a quick fist dunk in celebration, the wolf hurled the mop... Why can't I speak? The wolf hurled the mop aside before twisting around and... thud. Foss jolted at the sound of the door behind her suddenly violently thumping. A high-pitched whine sounded from behind, before a blue flame bashfully burnt a clean hole through the door, a familiar hand reaching through, fumbling around before gripping the handle of the door and clicking off the lock. The door flew off its hinges with a kick, the black masked woman stopping out and swinging out her assault rifle. You saw nothing. Anyway, I got the thing. The thing. We got the other stuff on our end. Or, why did I just speak it so randomly? We got the other stuff on their end, the blue masked girl replied, holding up 2 duffel bags of cash. Leader Foss, give the word. Mass swimsuit gang. Let's case this joint, Foss exclaimed, shaking so fast she was practically a blur. Sensei decided to correct her on the right heist terminology later. Not so fast, a voice boomed. Moments later, another door across the room blew open, revealing a considerably more armored Manager Bob, now gripping 2 shotguns with a large 4-pod missile launcher strapped over his shoulder. My permanent record will not be tarnished. Now die. The entirety of the masked swimsuit gang stared for a moment before promptly drawing their weapons and taking aim at him, save for Foss and Six. Oh, no, no, no. The black masked woman waggled a finger at him. I killed the bus driver. The what? The what? What bus driver? Is that from a movie or something? The wall of the bank exploded, a rusted and battered school bus ramming through the side. The scraped-off remains of the Abydos logo were barely visible on the side of the vehicle, smoke pouring from the engine at the front of the vehicle. Barreling through the lobby of the bank, it skidded across the polished floor, ramming into the manager and sending him crumpling to the ground, coming to a stop. The pistons of the doors creaked and hissed, one of them falling off as they clanked open, revealing a pink-masked student sitting on the driver's seat, wearing a pair of cracked aviator shades. Cool line, Hoshino drawled, shooting a pair of finger guns. You didn't come up with one? The black-masked woman threw up her arms. I restored an entire bus for this whole thing, and you couldn't come up with a good one-liner? I'm not in the jive with all this newfangled word whatchamacallits or whatever. All aboard, she honked the horn. Grumbling silently, the larger wolf stepped up into a vehicle, her comrades quickly sprinting in behind her. The abused engine of the vehicle rattled, the rear door of the vehicle falling off, before the vehicle sparked and dragged itself back onto the streets. Six, aren't you afraid that they'll follow us? Serica asked after a few moments as the vehicle weaved down the streets. We're in a clearly traceable vehicle that's falling apart. However, into this, Six simply stared off the back of the bank behind her without a word, as if in deep contemplation, before pulling on her own pair of shades. That was a beautiful heist. Quick, did anyone get the plates of that vehicle? It happened so fast. Quick, print Bob's termination form. The sooner we can pin this on him. They left behind a calling card. A metallic hand scooped up the small card, the android putting on his reading glasses and studying it. Riku Hashima Aru, would like to place a loan and smell like bean sprouts. Who the heck is Hiku Hashima? Bean sprouts smell unforgivable. The two guards slowly turned to face the source of the voice. Oh, the unforgivable was Haruka? Unforgivable. The two guards slowly turned to face the source of the vehicle. Standing before them was a wide-eyed purple-haired girl in a black uniform and cap, slowly raising a small remote in one hand. You would dare accuse the boss for something terrible like this? Haruka shook with rage before flipping the cap off the detonator and clicking it vigorously. All of you can go to hell. I accidentally gave Haruka a mob voice, but I'm sure she'll forgive me for that. The skies of Abydos darkened as a massive plume of smoke, flame, and dust burst from where the Stygian bank was moments prior. A true shame we will never be able to do it again, Sensei concluded as the rest of the foreclosure task force stared at the rising ball of flame in disbelief. Shiroko nodded, also wearing a pair of shades. If we do it again, however, I want to take the vault next time. We'll see. The bus finally left the outskirts of the city, speeding off into the desert sunset. We'll see. Rin, I've come across some concerning information regarding Abydos. Sensei, I heard there was a violent bank robbery in the region perpetrated by an organization calling itself the Masked Swimsuit Gang. Are you safe? Forget that. The gang tried to attack us too. They used a refurbished bus that came up to the school building, and we were forced to defend ourselves, but in the chaos, we were forced to shoot it down and disable it. I can deploy some JTF on site if needed. Your safety is our primary concern. Does Rin have access to command the JTF? I feel like only Nagi-sen's Sensei would have that liberty, but sure. Forget my safety. Everything's handled. The point is, the Swimsuit Gang wasn't just after money. They were collecting information on the bank's creditors for blackmailing the bank. While we were capturing the bus for ourselves after the fact, I discovered some of these documents. They're a bit bullet-holed, but they seem to imply illegal activity within the bank itself. Are you certain? They've been catching Abydos' loan for the past few years on the pretense of interest, but the numbers are clearly arbitrary and increasing. Furthermore, documentation seems to suggest the Kaiser Corporation, the bank's parent group, using these funds to hire mercenaries and PMCs to attack Abydos. President Ao. Oh, that was Arona. I'm not going to say it again. President Ao, you're there too? No. President Ao, what? This is Arona, my AI assistant. No, that voice. It's definitely GSC president. I sound like the missing GSC president? I thought people who weren't Sensei weren't allowed to hear Arona's voice.
Right, you did say the Shidam chest had an AI, but hearing that voice again... My apologies. I haven't gotten much rest for the past few days. You sound like her, but now that I hear you again, there's a distinct difference. Is there? I guess I've gone through quite a few voices in my time, or so I'm told. My pronunciation could use some work. I suppose I just miss her. We were close. It's just, she definitely know what to do here. She always seemed to know better. If you want, Rin, I may be able to lend a hand at the GSC from time to time. I'm quite capable when it comes to data management and other computerized tasks, as you might imagine. That would be nice, yes. It's good to finally hear you, Rona. To hear that voice again, even if it's just simulated. Likewise. Returning to the task at hand. Or is this Kuroko? Returning to the task at hand. Given the nature of the situation, I believe we should attempt to fast-track Abydos' application for the registration of the foreclosure I can't speak in such a low voice. I'm sorry. At least not that quickly. Given the nature of the situation, I believe we should attempt to fast-track Abydos' application for the registration of the Foreclosure Task Force as an official Abydos club, and by extension, making them the official student council of Abydos. I'll see what I can do. However, things here aren't much better. Give me a time frame. When will Abydos have a council again? At earliest, 5 days, at best. I'll commend you for filling the proper documentation on the first day you were able to, at least. I'm kind of on the clock here. They can't hold out much longer from all these attacks. We can't risk Shale for showing favoritism, you must understand. The position you hold, indeed, the fact Shale exists in the first place, is a matter that needs to be managed carefully. Even if you are from Abydos, in fact, especially because you are, you must still go through all the proper procedures and hoops. I hate politics. Alright, Rona will send over the soft copies of the documents as soon as she's able. I'll hand you the hard copies if you open your window real quick. Open my... Rin paused, lowering her phone and slowly turning around to see the silver-haired wolf woman dangling outside her office's window by a window-washing cable, wearing crude homemade sailing gear and a bike helmet, holding up a briefcase handcuffed to her hand. I tried to stop her. Please hurry up and open the window, Sensei strained. Climbing with one hand is harder than it looks. Kuroko glanced around what was once her living room, now a war zone of sand, plastic tarps, wiring, rusted tools, and cables. You know, when you'd said you'd be sleeping on my couch, this wasn't what I had in mind. Deal with it. We know you barely use this room anyway. Kuroko tapped away on a keyboard, missing a few keys, the dozens of salvaged, cracked monitors from the abandoned buildings surrounding the house, having been jury-rigged in some kind of post-apocalyptic command center, all connected to the Shidam chest in the center. Fair. Kuroko pulled up a spare chair, taking a seat behind the larger wolf. Is Arona in there? She is, but she's sleeping. Kuroko pulled up a window, revealing a simulated virtual classroom, the blue AI assistant muttering something subconsciously about strawberry shortcake as she slumbered. I've been putting through a lot of work recently arranging my affairs. Affairs? Kuroko minimized Arona, opening up a calendar app. Kuroko's eyes widened. Each day was filled with dozens of entries and notes, all leading up to 5 days. That was when everything went downhill. Kuroko's voice wavered. Every night was filled with regret. I wondered what we could have done differently. And now, I need to put those pie-in-the-sky dreams into action. It's come to this. I only have 5 days left to change the future. That's not a lot. Kuroko studied the timeline. Hifumi wasn't supposed to come today, she blurted out blindly, pointing at the calendar. Hifumi's arrival is 2 days from now on this timeline you made. In the original timeline. Kuroko looked away. Then, you knew we'd meet her. She was integral to the robbery. Without her, I don't think we could have done it without her. You lured her here. Kuroko slowly spoke. That's the only thing I think I'd do. You made a fake account, posted in a Puro fan group she was in, told her to come today. You lied to Hifumi and put her in serious danger. I did, but in the end, we really did get her the plush she was looking for. I managed to make the seller get here, and both of us know we aren't buying that. Kuroko slumped. I did something wrong. That's pretty scummy. Coming from me. We need to tell her the truth about all of this. Yes, you should. Shiroko's withering glare didn't let up. We're pretty different, you and me. I would never do something like this. To a friend, no less. A friend who you, in this timeline, pretty much gaslit into becoming friends with us. A fist clenched, teeth gritting together at those terrible fading memories. To change the filter, to change the future. This is what it will take. If it means becoming a monster, I'll stop. The silver-haired woman looked up, her shattered halo dimly drifting about behind her head. We both know what it's like to be alone. We were like that for the longest time. No family, no friends, no home, not even a backstory. The silvered-haired girl stood up, her own halo shining behind her head The silvered-haired girl stood up, her own halo shining behind her head, silhouetting her face. I get the feeling you were alone for even longer than that. It was in isolation of my own creation. Well, not anymore. I won't stand idly by while you're trying to change this future on your own. She held out a hand. We will stop that tragedy, whatever it is, from happening. Together. Kuroko stared at the hand, her own hand. No, Shiroko's hand. She gripped it firmly, rising to her full height. Tell me everything. Let me in on this mission of yours. Shiroko placed a hand over her heart. Just as much as you are the wrench in the works of this timeline, I am too. My leaden heart is weighed by my sins. Were it laid upon you, I fear that cursed knowledge would see you devoured by despair. But on the opposite side of those scales is a feather. That's us. The smaller wolf smirked, looking all the way up. And as impossible as it may seem, the feather will become a wing that shall lift your leaden heart, leaving behind despair and soar into the heavens. Allow us to be that feather of life. Identical eyes locked for a brief eternity. Together, let's tip the scales. Yuka, I need you to approve this purchase, Kuroko explained, hands splayed out. Oh, you don't seem to be the kind of person who actually does such things. I would have thought you to be a buy first, ask later kind of person. The voice on the end of the video message replied. Abydos wasn't exactly a place where he had money to waste exorbitantly. I've seen Serika do so firsthand. I'll look over that invoice now. Give me a Sensei, why are you buying over 100 quadcopters and missile pods? Back when I was still studying, I guess you could say that I made a reasonably cheap missile drone using quadcopters and missile pods. Exactly the ones in the invoice I sent you. So, you want to be able to mobilize a mechanized mob of missile machines. Exactly. I suppose I should just be a bit lenient in that you decided to consult me before going ahead with this. But, Sensei, I really don't see the reason why you need 100 of them. At least 50. Can I build at least 50 of them? The budget is meant to go to essentials, Sensei. Missile launchers and drones do not count. 20, then? That's probably the best I'm getting. I guess this means a lot to you. 20 missile launching drones approved for shell use it is. Yuka sighed, tapping away at her keyboard before hesitating at the bottom of the document. And you want a chopper motorbike. It is absolutely necessary. No, rejected on all fronts. It's tacky and ridiculous. She dramatically deleted that segment of the invoice. Grow up, please. Pale Rider and I will be together someday, Sensei wailed, slamming her face into the desk. You cannot stop me. I will not be denied Yuka Hayase. And why have you gone and named it already? Alright, masked swimsuit gang, let's decide on our code names. Sensei folded her arms. Masked... what? Serika twitched as Anomi hummed. We aren't even wearing... It was Anomi's idea back when I first did this, the larger wolf explained. It was a spur-of-the-moment choice at the end of our first raid. This time, if we want to shave off a few seconds, we're going to need to all agree on this before we go in. It does sound like something I come up with, the blonde hummed airily. How mysterious. Abydos by day, elegant, fashionable themes by night. That doesn't sound elegant at all. Ignoring the angry cat sounds, Sensei dug into her pocket, producing a note. So, anyway, I have created a list of code names that I'll be assigning you all. We should all agree on them so that we don't argue about it later during the heist. In numerical order based on your masks: Hinata 0, Yume 1, Birkin 2, Trailblazer 3, Nelson 4, Faust, and finally, she pulled on her mask, the number 6 taped onto the top, Courier 6. Silence. So I'm kind of confused. Hifumi quietly piped up. Ignoring the last time you did this part, don't I get a number 2? Faust is a good name. But it messes up your naming scheme. Legend of Faust must live on. Where are you even getting these names from? Shiroko suspiciously raised an eyebrow. For some reason, the one you gave me sounds... I'm not sure, actually. They kind of just came to me last night. Her future self frowned, scratching her chin. They seem strangely familiar, but aside from Yume 1, I don't recall ever having heard these names before. Well, I appreciate you remembering. Well, Hoshino smiled slightly. Guess that was a no-brainer for me, huh? Isn't Hinata the name of someone from Trinity? Ayane tilted her head as she looked over the radio equipment Sensei had produced. It is? I didn't know that. Sensei tilted her head. But it does sound like the name of a great tactical expert, doesn't it? What? Don't get me wrong, Trailblazer is a pretty name, Nanomi hummed before suddenly shuddering and glancing down. So why do I feel so uneasy about it? I feel like it's a bad omen all of a sudden. I'll swap with you, Sarek offered. Honestly, can we just get this over with already? You're acting kind of strange. Oh, I feel much better now, Nanomi perked up brightly. 6 Sensei, can you... Understood. Nelson 3 and Trailblazer 4. Trailblazer 4. The large wolf slumped slightly, but crossed out the names on the list and swapped them around regardless. 4. Wouldn't that make it even more unlucky? She is a black cat. Makes sense. Hey, so can I change mine too? Hifumi quietly asked after a moment. Both Shiroko and Sensei stared at her, then exchanged glances before delivering the final verdict. No, absolutely not. You were born to wear that name, Faust. The Trinity girl let out a soft whine, wondering how her life had come to this. Yep, that is... Oh, those are the references. Okay. The more you know. Alright. So, one of the main issues with this is that the story takes itself only semi-seriously, right? The main point of this scene was the bank heist, and most of that was really comedy-laced. Maybe that's not the best term, but most of the bank scene was written around comedic tones, and comedy is something I'm more inclined to let looser than serious tones, because those you can definitely screw up if you're trying to go for a serious tone. For comedic tones, everyone has their own type of expression, so you could say the same for serious tones, but I think being more lenient for comedy is understandable. In saying that, it's really hard to really say much about this fic because most of it is not really trying to make you feel intense emotions. Half of it's just trying to make you enjoy the fic, have a good time, and have a laugh, while still trying to deliver a proper story. So far, we've not really gotten far, so there's not that much to say. So if I do continue on with this, I definitely need to see more before I make any comments on the plot aspect itself. But as for the writing, I mean, I wasted like 2-3 minutes of our time just dying at the fact it's just the dumbest joke ever. The dumbest joke ever. I apologize for that again. Just, in any case, that will conclude this review. I didn't say much. All I did was really read over it
and make a lot of mistakes. To be honest, I probably really shouldn't upload this anyway, but I went through the time to read it, and so hopefully in post I was able to make a lot more comments in the text blurbs. Thank you for watching, and may next time grant us something a little different.